Tonight on Gamers Play, I actually had to talk about something that came out recently, and it is Redfall, and why I believe the game should have been delayed. Let's talk about that and more, cause this is where the gamers play. Game on. What is up, Gamer Nation? This is HUD Zero, the old school gamer, and of course the Ironheart of Xbox, and welcome to Gamers Play. Now, as you can tell by the title, I'm actually going to put you onto this journey, if you will, of when gaming used to be great. When you actually didn't have to worry about games having bugs. Where you just accepted what kind of games they were because you knew that whatever game that you had would have some type of quality. That games had only one shot to actually get you invested, get you involved. Those days seem to escape the memory of most of the industry nowadays. And I'm actually starting to get very sick of it, and so are a lot of you gamers out there. So if you have not done so, and if you would like to, please hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and also hit that bell so you can get notified of all the new gaming content that I'm actually going to spit your way every single week on Tuesdays. 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and of course, I would like for you to please give me some feedback. Let me know what you like about my shows. But let's get started. What is going on with the industry? Redfall. What a wonderful name. What a wonderful game that could have been. So I had my opportunity to play roughly about almost 10 hours of the game so far. At first glance, I would say that the game was not to my liking. It was very muddy. It was very slow, very sluggish. 30 frames per second. You know, the game was somewhat responsive, but of course for a first-person shooter, 60 frames per second would be the most ideal frames per second for any type of shooter, like Call of Duty, and of course, Apex Legends and Destiny. But now we seem to be going backwards. Arcane Studios, who's actually been known for Dishonored and of course Prey. Great studio, fantastic studio. And Roundhouse Games, who actually helped out, put the creative vision behind this game. Everyone said that Arcane just can't miss. Just can't miss. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what happens when you actually put too much faith into one studio, because if you realize that now we're going into the they call it the next generation of games, where graphic quality and of course all of the bells and whistles such as VAA and ray tracing and all of these fancy little words that I really do not really give a rip about, because I have not seen anything impressive yet. Of course, I've seen everything on paper, but I have not seen it executed flawlessly. All I saw was minor efforts here and there, and of course you had to sacrifice one thing for the other because, of course, if you have any of the high quality graphics cards out there, like the RTX 480 or 4080, and of course the NVIDIA cards out there, the newer versions, of course, with more RAM and more more CPU and GPU power. Still, not one game developer out there has optimized for the game. And of course, Unreal Engine 5, we've been hearing so much about for years, for the past 3 years, if I'm not mistaken. They were talking about Unreal Engine being the most easiest to work for. It'd be an easy transition. You'd be able to get the games and graphic fidelity and all of these, the shaders and the anthropomorphic, whatever the heck it is, the graphics and whatever, photo realistic stuff. And the only games that I've really seen impressive things were in racing games and small time games. And now we have developers out there who are feeding us peas when we actually want the entire meal. We want the steak and potatoes, and they're feeding us peas, they're feeding us rice. Then they're saying, "Oh, eat this. This is actually good for you." And and this will fill you up. I mean, the steak is coming. It still needs time to cook. And right now, after playing Redfall, which was one of my most anticipated games this year, and now I'm looking forward to Starfield, which is coming out this coming September, I believe it is. I already started to lose faith. Now I'm actually getting to this point where it's like, okay, well, you know what? Now it's show and then tell. I've gotten to this point, and this is my personal opinion. I've gotten to this point where I'm sick and tired of empty promises. I'm sick and tired of broken games getting released, promising patches that they will improve and fix what glitches and what have you happen. I mean, I didn't even bother to pick up the new Star Wars game. Why? Because I want a game that actually has been done flawlessly. I would like a game that I can actually enjoy without having to deal with games freezing. I don't have to deal with clipping. I don't have to deal with screen tearing. I don't have to deal with these dropped frames. I'm tired of seeing this and taking years to optimize these games until it gets better. Sea of Thieves, one of my games and I think that everyone's been touting about it, and it got high praises. And then all of a sudden, when the game finally get released, people were like, "This is not what was promised." And it took years of optimization and all this stuff to have to get it to where it is today. Grounded, had an excuse. Grounded, they at least had an open beta. See if these had an open beta too. And, Grounded actually seemed pretty polished already, but they actually made major improvements. They made quality of life improvements that actually made the game better. They added more insects, they added more things to do, they added more optimizations so you could be able to rebuild and new worlds and stuff like that. And you'd be able to great ideas. But this is Redfall. Redfall has an ending. Grounded does not really. It has an ending, but it actually, you can be able to do more inside the world. It's things like that it works. Sea of Thieves, I can somewhat give it a pass because it doesn't really have an ending. You can be able to explore as much as you want in the game. You have the whole entire world to visit. And you can be able to do more, and they actually add more to it. Redfall, I guess supposedly they were actually had that thought in mind when they created the game. I don't. Maybe I wish I could be able to sit right there at that board meeting, at that where they actually had the whiteboard out and they had all the clips and the the pictures on there, and they had the black marker or the green marker, whatever they used, and they come up with the ideas and they get people spitballing these great ideas, and then they actually be able to show their ideas and show their vision. And they say, this will work, this will work, this won't work, this won't work. And then they finally put the game together. They get the music, they get the voice acting, they get the score, they get the marketing campaign. They do everything. It seems like it's going in the right direction. And then they show us a trailer that gets everyone hyped up. It gets everyone just gassed up, including myself. I got into this. I'm looking at the trailer and I'm like, wow, this game looks great. I can't wait. I really couldn't wait. It doesn't like shout like, oh my god, I gotta have it. No, I was saying, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to try it. I can't wait to play it. And then we come to the Game Pass situation, which I'm actually going to talk about later in this video. That's another battle of a ball wax, but I'm starting to understand. I'm starting to feel like now Game Pass seems like this euphoria, this little hodgepodge of ideas that goes into the Game Pass library. And we are the field testers. We are the ones that actually get to step onto the landmines and everything, and hope that one of them does not explode. That's what we are. I feel like that's what gamers are nowadays. And this is something that I've actually gotten very frustrated and confused about. I mean, you want games to be high quality, high caliber games. You do. I hope so. I mean, we are paying customers. Game Pass or not, you're paying $14.99. Well, right with plus tax, it comes to 16 something. But you're paying $14.99 a month for Game Pass Ultimate. $9.99 if you're actually just getting Game Pass, right? And you have the hundreds of games to get to play. The third-party games are good enough, but I didn't get Game Pass just for the third party. Yeah, granted, third-party games, first, day-and-date games, exclusive games, I don't mind. I actually liked it because it actually shows that Game Pass has value. But the bread and butter games, the first-party games, Halo, Fable, Forza, Gears, Minecraft, the trifecta of games. Sorry, can't be a trifecta because trifecta means 3. But the plethora of games that comes in the service as a first party that's supposed to be the rock solid standard of what Game Pass is all about. I have not seen it yet. The only game that actually did well, to this point right now, is Hi-Fi Rush. And Hi-Fi Rush, believe it or not, was very polished and everything before it came onto Game Pass. Why can't every single game actually be as polished as Hi-Fi Rush? Hi-Fi Rush and everything did not release the game until it was ready. The game was ready. It was flawless. There was no drop frames. There was no glitches. There was no hiccups. It was perfect. Amazing music. You had two soundtracks, one for streaming and one that actually had licensed music. Why can't games actually come out that great? Sunset Overdrive and I think another great game that people actually just kind of pushed to the wayside because of the Xbox One debacle. Another great game. Polished. It was a polished game. There was no glitches. There was no major slowdowns. It was a great game. But yet, it seems like everybody over there in Redmond are beside themselves. Can we rewind for a second? Can we think just for a second of what QA or QC actually does mean? Is there anyone out there that actually have they do any testing out there? Do they actually do it? They get to sit down there and do the bug testing, or better yet, you should have actually had an open beta, that was public, a crash test, and see, that we can actually be able to point out the things that actually are causing problems before the game gets released. Now you wonder why that they did not even bother to say, "Oh, we went gold," because it's not gold. It's not perfect. It has not been completed. You have given us the final beta of Redfall. That's what you have given us. And then you slap a price sticker on there of $69.99. Now, listen, I'm not the sharpest tack on the wall. I really am not. But when you sit right there and you throw a $70 price tag on a game that is unfinished, it's almost like giving us a Tesla and saying, "Oh, we're gonna give you the second and third gears later, but at least you can be able to drive it." That is unacceptable, especially nowadays when people actually are working so hard for their dollar. They want the best quality, and what they are getting, they don't want things skimped anymore. If we are actually paying more for everything, that means that's everything: clothing, food, shelter, everything. We want the best quality for what we are spending our hard-earned dollars on. And there is no excuse that you can throw out there at all, that says, "Oh, you know what? We can give you a little bit and you should accept it." I'm sorry. It's the most irresponsible and just asinine thing to think about. And corporations, especially as big as Microsoft, should know this. Okay? Look, I mean, Sony is not the greatest company in the world. It really isn't. But PlayStation brand is pretty darn good. And believe it or not, their track record has been kind of spotty. But believe it or not, the track record, I think, has been at least 85 to 90%. And you know what? And now it almost feels like I'm starting to get a FOMO because of that. Because I feel like I'm missing out on all of the great games without having to worry about if the game is actually at a certain point or not. I understand that Redfall is a stylized game, and you know what? I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried for the fact that even with a stylized game, a game like Redfall is a brand new IP that kind of is supposed to usher in a new generation of gaming for the Xbox. You actually say that, oh, you're gonna use Unreal Engine 5, but you didn't. You decided to go to Unreal Engine 4 because you didn't have time to actually transfer all the assets to the new engine. That actually tells you something. You know what that tells you? It tells you the game should have never came out this year. It tells you that the game should have actually came out either later in the year or next year. It means they needed more time. And whoever gave you the green light, whoever out there, or better yet, whoever decided to force you to bring the game into Game Pass because, oh, we have to reach this quota. We have to reach this quota in Game Pass. You know, because this game has to be in. We have to be able to sell more Game Pass subscriptions. So we need this game ready. Oh, you're scum. Sorry, scum. That's a scummy move. I mean, your company out of all places. I mean, look, you know, I'm not gonna name drop. You know, I mean, Phil Spencer should know. Or Phil Spencer, his heart is hearts and everything, has actually said it several times and everything that he actually cares about games actually coming out and quality and everything, and they wanted to get better. They need to get better. So who should we actually put the blame on? Should we put it on the company that said, well, we should green light this and put it out? We don't know who said yeah. You know, I can't blame. I don't know if I should blame Matt Booty. Should I blame him? I don't know. But somebody dropped the ball. Somebody has to be accountable for it. Look, I'm a leader at my store, and guess what? And I said it before. Guess what? The manager does not go to the head manager does not go to the team that the leader is actually in care of. No. They go to the leader. They go to the leader because you know why? The leader's not doing their job. The leader is not delegating. The leader is not going up there and holding the team accountable for doing their job, doing their part in creating a good either a good atmosphere for the customers who actually are paying their money for the product that they're actually receiving. That is a straight up fact. And everybody who sits right there and accepts mediocre should take a good look in the mirror. Just take a good look. You know what? I've actually done it several times. You know, and sometimes I actually sit ashamed because I said, you know what? You know, I could have done the A, B, and C. And then hindsight 2020. You know? And the saying about it is what it is. No. Sorry. There is no what there is. There is no it is what it is. No. You know what? In God of War, you know what Kratos said to his son? Atreus. You know what he said? I'll tell you what he said. He said, you know, because when he said I'm sorry, right? He said, don't be sorry. Be better. And I think that's what you need to do, Microsoft. And Xbox team, I think you need to start thinking about that too. Somebody has to think about, hey, you know what? The fans, the ones who are paying the money for this stuff, they deserve better. They deserve better. I deserve better. You know, makes me question, you know, of keeping Game Pass but then again, Game Pass does some of the third party games keep me vested. It does. You know, but I was expecting some big, heavy hitting titles from Microsoft and Xbox Game Studios, and you know, and create, you know, wonderful worlds and everything that I can sit back and say, wow, memorable experiences. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the wow factor yet. The wow factor has not happened yet. I don't know what you're waiting for. Are you waiting for next year? Everybody's sitting back talking about Hellblade. I don't know. I mean, the Hellblade 2, is it going to be good? It's kind of questionable. Is the new Forza Motorsport coming out? Is that going to be good? I don't know. It's questionable. But it's also very, very frustrating. You know? I don't know. Everybody's like, "Oh, you should just play the game and the thing, and just have fun." it's hard to have fun. And the game, no, don't get me wrong. Okay, let me just retract that. Redfall is fun. It's a fun game, despite its major flaws, and there are a lot of major flaws in the game. But the game is fun. It had the potential to be a fantastic game. It had the potential, but it just seemed like it was rushed. It just seemed rushed, like you were trying to run to the finish line, and you forgot to tie your shoe, and then you tripped at the finish line. Yeah, you made it over, barely, but you lost a couple seconds over the line. So, I don't know. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments. Let me know, in my Twitter page. And well, that's enough of my rant. I guess my blood pressure is getting a little high right now. So, let's move on and let's talk about our next subject. But first, a nice commercial break.
If you were colorblind and had an IQ less than 12, then you wouldn't care which portable you had. Of course, you wouldn't care if you drank from the toilet either. Game Gear.
Witch doctor, he told me what to do. He said, ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, chang, chang, walla, walla, bing, bang.
That means play Dr. Mario on Game Boy or NES.
Chang, chang, walla, walla, bing, bang. I beat the witch doctor, and this is what he said. He said, ooh, ee, ooh, ah, ah, chang, chang, walla, walla, bing, bang. Ooh, ee, ah, ah. And then he struck my head.
Alright, and welcome back to Gamers Play. And if you have followed me so far, why don't you go ahead and hit that like button, and hit that subscribe button, and also hit that bell notification. I'm trying to push for at least 100 subscribers. If not, trying to push for 150. Heck, I might even make it to the 200 club. Anyway, I hope you digested my first segment, because the second segment is going to be a little spicy. It's going to ruffle a few feathers, and I want you to understand that it's all about love, and it's all about the gaming industry and what I feel needs to be done about, they need to fix the problems. Let's just put it, okay? Fix the kinks. Rip off the band-aid and everything and start putting a cast on it. Let's just put it to you that way. Let's talk about Game Pass for a second. Now, Game Pass is a fantastic service. It really is. Fantastic, number one, because of value. You get hundreds of games for a low cost of $9.99, $14.99 if you want to actually get the Game Pass Ultimate, which actually comes with PC Game Pass, and it also comes with xCloud, so you'll be able to play the games via Wi-Fi. Yeah, it's a fantastic service, but there's a flaw. And the flaw that I actually have mentioned before is it's starting to become more of a hodgepodge of ideas of games that can be or could be, and these are games that actually have the opportunity to blossom. But that also means that games can get tossed in there and they can actually put in a patch later and say, well, here is the game, you guys can try it out, we're in the background, we're still cooking, so as soon as we actually get done, we'll patch it in later. That's not what I'm paying for. I am not paying for a service that is going to be giving me things that are not quite finished yet. It's like giving somebody a Lego set and said, you know what? I'm going to give you the second and third diagram later. But you can put these pieces together now, and you can put them, and you'll be entertained for now. But then we'll give you the second page and maybe the third page of the diagram, and then you'll be able to finish the project. How about that? And then you'll be satisfied. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. It is not how it works. This is not Thomas Kincaid. Okay, this is not the Bradford Exchange. You don't sit right there and you actually pay for it, and then you pay for the second set, and then you pay for the third set, and then you finally get the complete set. That's not how it should be. Now, unless the game is segmented that way. I mean, there were ideas that people have said that, you know, games will be more episodic. That was an idea. I believe Hideo Kojima actually mentioned that. They said that, you know, he had the idea that he can actually bring out a game and it can be more segmented. There was a game called Dark Dreams Don't Die, or D4, that came out for the Xbox One. I believe it was during the launch period. And made by, I believe, Q Entertainment. And that game actually was amazing. The only problem was the game wasn't completed. They gave you the first episode. And then nothing else. Same thing happened with, I believe it was called, that came out recently for the Xbox One, or, you know, that it. I believe it was what was it called again? Oh my goodness gracious! Oh man, I just blanked. The game was actually called Tell Me Why. And it was a very interesting story, but episodes 2, 3, whatever, where'd it go? We only got chapter 1. Where's the rest? I think that the idea was great, but the execution was horrible. And I'm afraid that that's a direction that I feel like game developers are going, because they feel like this is the same thing. This is the same tragedy that's happening with. This is not just Xbox. This happened to PlayStation also. PlayStation actually brought out Final Fantasy VII, right? And then now they made it more episodic. Now it's more chapters instead of, you know, the entire game in its entirety. So they split Final Fantasy VII into sections, into segments, to make the game longer, I guess. And they're making you pay for it. And this is something that I'm hoping that industry does not go, because, you know, I mean, I guess it worked with Destiny, because Destiny did the same thing. You know, Destiny actually made you pay for the new content or the new DLC. Consider it more another chapter in the Destiny saga. So maybe this is a way that they want to go. But I feel like Game Pass actually can't get the pass because they're not making that clear. They're actually trying to walk the line without stepping over it. They're actually giving you the so-called full game, but then they said, oh well, we're going to give you, you know, the game. I mean, it's not quite complete. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but I think you'll appreciate it later when we add it, because then you can see the difference. Look, we didn't sign up for Game Pass to become a beta tester. If I wanted to be a beta tester, I would sign up for being a beta tester. That way I'm expected to actually deal with bugs and deal with all these issues, and that way I can actually be able to put in a report and say, hey, X, Y, and Z actually happened in this part, and this part, and this part. And then they put it in there, they say thank you for the feedback, and then they go and they talk to their guys who are part of the programming, who put the game together, and say, okay, this is where it's located and everything, let's see if we can find that bug. Oh, here's a bug, let's squash it, so that way it won't happen again. But this is not what Game Pass is supposed to be. And this is where the problem is, because Game Pass can't be a pass per se. It just can't be a pass. Game Pass is supposed to be a service. It's not like in Netflix where you actually created the movie once, and once the movie is out, that's it. Or the TV show. They did the episode, they did the show. They can't fix it, they can't go back to it and say, okay, well, here's the episode again, but we fixed all those problems that you asked about and everything. Here's the show again, but all the problems actually solved. Sorry, that's not the same. So you can't really call Game Pass the Netflix of gaming. You just can't. Because it's not the same. It's not the same because these patches or the DLC or whatever you might call it is now in the hands of the developers and not really the gamers. The gamers don't have any type of control in this. And the gamers actually sit there and they actually can be frustrated. But you know what? Then you actually say, well, you should be satisfied with what you get because, hey, all you're paying is $19.99 a month. Or $14.99 a month, I'm sorry. $14.99 a month, Floridian Split. And, we're giving you all this content. We're giving you all this third-party content. All these great indie games. By the way, there's some great games coming out. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I'm kind of disappointed in because I was saying to everyone, I said, Game Pass has so much potential. It does. It's such an amazing service, and it really is. You can't really go wrong. Almost 400 plus titles. The whole entire Yakuza series. You got some great Sega titles. You got some amazing RPGs in there. Okay, you had the Final Fantasy games, which are all practically gone. And I'm still kind of ashamed that they don't have Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon in there, which was actually a Xbox exclusive. I'm still kind of confused about that. And there's some other titles that actually are Xbox exclusives that actually were backwards compatible, but are not on the service yet, which I'm confused. I'm baffled. I'm beside myself. And I'm hoping against hope that they actually, reconsider. The backwards compatibility program would have been perfect for this. Because there's amazing games that actually deserve to be backwards compatible. And Game Pass could more than pay for all those licensees and stuff like that. But you know why? Because it's a service. And if the licensee actually expires, you can take it out of the service, like you did Quantum Break, and then renegotiate the contract and then put it back into the service. Come on. Who's doing the thinking here? Who's thinking? Look, this is an idea that actually should have been executed years ago. Game Pass and everything actually could have been the scapegoat. It could have been the solution to fix these problems. Game Pass is earning you billions of dollars a year. There is no excuse under the beautiful sun that we actually sit under that you can't execute something like that and actually make these negotiations. Game Pass, come on. Look, I have a bullet list of all these ideas that Game Pass could actually do right now. Okay, number one. Look, let's talk about this. Okay, number one, Game Pass, right? Game Pass can be the same price, right? Why not add the Ubisoft Plus to Game Pass and merge it into one? Actually, just pay the cost up front, give it to Ubisoft, and if the Ubisoft makes their money, and then have as an addition their thing and plus $5, like add like another $5. So you pay $20 a month or $20 a month, right? $20 a month, and you get Ubisoft Plus for PC and for the Xbox console. So that way you can be able to have all these day one Ubisoft games, plus all these games, Ubisoft games, classics, and what have you on the system, on the console, right? And also on PC. No brainer. You know how many subscriptions you can actually add on to that just alone? Can do that. And on top of that, you can give everybody an incentive who already has Ubisoft Plus and say, you know what? You can actually get Game Pass Ultimate right now. Or you call it Ultimate Plus, whatever you want to do. And you can actually be able to get all these wonderful titles and everything for one low price. Number two, what's taking so long for the Family Game Pass? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to think about the logistics of it, or how much money they actually earn from it. Or maybe they're trying to reach a certain quota for their Game Pass service, and then once they get there, then they can be able to say, okay, well, then we can actually afford to lose about 500,000 customers or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna work it. But believe it or not, the thing with Family Game Pass, you can actually up the price, and I'm pretty sure you can, to about $30-something a month, right? And you actually be able to add on 5 family members or friends, and they could be able to have Game Pass and everything for as long as the service, as long as you keep on paying for the service. So you can make about almost $40 a month. $40 a month times to like 23 million players, okay, subscribers, 25 million subscribers. Okay. The numbers are just staggering. You're talking about almost $7 billion plus a year. $7 billion a year. Okay, that's pocket change in your pocket. And you could be able to pay off all these little licensees or what have you, right? Number 3, which I was just talking about, backwards compatibility program needs to come back. It needs to come back for several reasons. Number 1, you can always tie in any licensee to a certain movie because you also have Movies Plus. And they actually have deals every single freaking month. And you can be able to download or be able to stream movies and all that stuff for a monthly price, whatever it is, right? You got these deals, and you always put it out there. I mean, you got Halloween, you got the Halloween time for scary movies and horror movies, and there are games that actually came out that like Condemned. And a few other horror games, like Silent Hill and what have you, right? You can be able to actually tie in those games and those movies to the program, and you can be able to have it for a month or 2 or whatever it is, right? I mean, yeah, granted, you have it backwards compatible, and believe it or not, you can actually be able to get people to pay the money and buy the game and be able to play the game on their console. And then if the game gets off of Game Pass, those players actually have the game. Wow, what a concept. I mean, who's doing the thing? I mean, I don't understand what the logistics are, and I'm just kind of confused. Because everyone claimed that it's all about the licenses, right? You have to go around and you have to go around for the licenses and stuff like that. You have to get these people to sign and You're one of the most richest companies in the world, and you should be able to handle something like this. You know, and this is the very last one. Number one, you need to be selective and more to execute quality games into Game Pass, day and date, completed, or at least fully optimized. There's no excuse. There's somebody in QA or QC. There's someone there not doing their job, or maybe they're not getting enough workers to actually do it. You know, people are desperate for jobs and everything. You can actually get people to actually get hired to actually fix this problem. I'm serious. It makes no sense at all that games should come in Game Pass glitchy and barely playable. There's no excuse. So anyway, that's my ideas for Game Pass. What do you think? Do you think I'm actually mad? Do you think I'm crazy? You know, why is it ribbon like a writing desk? who the heck knows? But anyway, that's all I have for you guys. I actually was going to it, but I'm going on to almost an hour. But if you have not done so yet, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, please. And this is the end of the video. This is HUD0, the old school gamer, and of course, Gamer Nation. As I always say, play your games, enjoy your games, stay awesome, and game on.